Yeah, what I'm saying is why exactly we want to learn Splunk. Why not any other technology in the market? Why only Splunk? Because Splunk has got many definitions. Number one definition is Splunk is not only a tool. Splunk is a big data tool, right? So if somebody says, Gokul, which tool you are working in, you should not say Splunk. If somebody is asking, okay, you are working in which technology, you should say I'm working in Splunk, which is a big data tool, or Splunk is one of the big data tool I'm working in. So if you say Splunk is a tool and Splunk is a big data tool, there is a large difference between these two statements. Fine. So why I'm calling it as a big data? So before I go ahead with the Splunk overview, I would like to throw a little light about the big data stuff. So there are three V's: velocity, variety, and volume. V for velour. Velocity, variety, and volume, depending upon which the technologies are listed under the category of the big data. If any of the tool or the technology are able to handle at least these three V's, will come under the category of the big data, right? Now let's talk about variety. So data is coming from various sources, irrespective of the type of sources. So various sources in a sense, data is coming from database. In the database also we have a lot of databases. We have a lot of categorization. Like we have Teradata, we have Oracle, we have MySQL, we have Sybase, we have DB2, we have Teradata, we have a lot of databases, right? So each and every database has its own way of generating the logs, has its own way of generating the configuration files. So database is one of the source, then any custom application is one of the source, then any common application like web server, email server, Apache server, IIS server. So all these servers are the common application which are common to the globe, common across the globe. Now you can have the data, I mean the source can be from the mainframe, because in the mainframe the data will not be in the same format. You will get the data from other application machines, application servers. So we can have multiple many sources from where the data is getting generated. So Splunk says that you give me the data, I'll process it. I really don't care from where the data is getting generated and how the data is getting generated. You got the point, how the data is getting generated and where the data is getting generated. So Splunk is really powerful in handling unstructured data. So if you look at the database, then databases which are available across the globe are able to handle structured data finely, efficiently, effectively, and in more easiest way. But if you talk about the unstructured data handling, then they don't have the power to go with the unstructured data. And this is what Splunk does, and this is its USP, and that's why it has got a very good name and fame in the market, because it can handle unstructured data very effectively and efficiently coming from the various sources. Okay, so first V is done. The second V is velocity. Now Splunk claims that it can handle the data which is coming at the rate of 1 petabyte in fraction of second. The data which is coming in the rate of 1 petabyte in a fraction of second, it can handle, Splunk can handle. Now you yourself think, if this much of data coming in this much of rate, then obviously the data will be voluminous, right? Data will not be less, because data keeps on coming. So 1 petabyte of data in fraction of second, if the data is coming, it means data is voluminous. So you should have a very powerful algorithm written in the back end to handle the data which is coming in this much of powerful rate. So let's say I would like to give you a very small example in that. If you have a small room, an empty room, and I am giving you 5 boxes of mango, so where will you keep those 5 boxes of mango? You will keep it in a corner, one after another, right? One above the another. Now after half an hour, if we give you again 5 boxes of mango, you will keep it somewhere again after half an hour. So like that, if after each half an hour, I will give 5 boxes of mango. You are going to have, just for example, you are going to have 200 boxes accommodated in that particular small room. Okay. Now, coming to the second scenario, if I give you 5 boxes of mango and you are arranging it, so just after 30 seconds or 20 seconds, again I'm giving you 5 boxes of mango, and again I'm 5 boxes of mango, again giving 5 boxes of mango. Like that, if I keep on giving you without giving you the time to think about how to arrange it effectively, what will happen? Your room will be filled up, and the total boxes of the mango will not be more than 80. So in the first case, you accommodated 200 boxes of mango, same room, same box size, everything is same. But in the second scenario, you have accommodated only 80. What about 120? So in this case, this is the way. So in the first case, I am giving you 30 minutes of time before I provide you the next 5 boxes of mango. It means you have the time with you to think about how you can organize the upcoming 5 boxes of mango. So in Splunk, nobody gives the time to Splunk to arrange the data, but still Splunk keeps its data in such a way that it can accommodate more and more data, within itself. So that's how this is a USP of Splunk. So Splunk is meeting all the three V's. Splunk can take the data coming from various sources. The sources can be anything, any application server which is generic, which is common to the world, or any custom application. See, if you are working with Apache server in your company, and in my company, if I'm working for Apache server, then I know that what type of log it generates, okay, and what is the nature of the log, so I can easily play with it. But let's say you are working for XYZ company in which you are having an application. In that particular application, you have your own way of generating the log. So that format I mean unaware of, right? Because that application is belonging to only your company. If you go to outside company, to some other company, if you say that I have worked on that particular application, nobody will recognize that application because it is only prepared or made for your project. So your way of generating the log is something different. But still Splunk says, you just get me the log. I really don't care where the log is getting generated, what is the format of the log, who is generating the log, and from which application. I really don't care. Get me the log. I'll process it in Splunk and do the rest of the stuff. So Splunk can take the data from various sources, and it claims that it can take the data 1 petabyte of data in fraction of second. If it can take the data in such a high rate velocity, it means the data is voluminous. So Splunk is one of the big data tool that can handle at least these three V's. So if any of the tool or the technology in the market can handle these three V's, will come under the category of big data, right? So that's why from now on, if somebody says what is Splunk, you should not say Splunk is a tool. Rather, you should say Splunk is a big data tool, right? Now, the second one is Splunk is a log management. Okay, Splunk is a log management. It manages the log. What exactly does it do? It takes the log, and it keeps it within itself, and then it analyzes the log and it shows the analyzed data in the form of the dashboard. I would show you in the next slide. So we have agenda in which we are going to show you what is Splunk. We already talked about little bit about Splunk, but we have a lot more to say about this product. And Splunk versions and OS supported. What does Splunk do? What does Splunk provide? Data source and delivering operational intelligence. What is Splunk? So as I told you, Splunk is nothing but a big data tool. Also, Splunk is a log management tool. Now, how the log management happens? Splunk collects the data from different sources, from different application servers. It collects the data. So collecting the data in the sense, it is gathering the data. Let's say Gokul, Krishna and Sumed, right? Just put yourself on mute. They have got the laptop, and now I want to get the data. I want to get the data from all these laptops. So what I'm going to do? So first of all, I have to collect the laptop. I have to collect the data which is kept in your laptop. So this is known as a collecting the logs, right? If I want to do the analysis on the logs which get generated in your laptop, respective laptop, I have to collect those logs. I will take the log which is in Gokul system. I will take the log which is in Krishna system. I'll take the log which is in Sume system. Now, once I take the log, I will index it. Indexing is nothing, but I'm talking about storing the data within its own file system. So I'll take the log from each of the laptop from you guys, and I'll keep it in my laptop. Okay, all the logs. Keep it in the sense I will store in my laptop. Storing the laptop is storing the data in the laptop or the server is known as indexing. Okay, I am indexing the data or I am storing the data, both are same. So from now on, I'm not going to tell you any storing word. I'm not going to use storing word. Instead, I will be using indexing word, so you should not get confused. If I say the data is indexed, it means the data is stored. Both are same. Okay. This is a Splunk terminology that I am indexing the data. Is it okay to all of you? So it collects the log from different servers, and then it indexes the data. It does the indexing. So Splunk does not use any external database or any kind of schema to store its data. So Splunk always stores its data within its own file system. Within its own file system. Once the data is stored, what I'm going to do? I'll be happy? No. Because after storing the data, I have other stuff to do as well. So once the data is stored, I want to analyze the data. You got the point? I want to analyze the data. So analysis of the data is being done with the help of SPL. SPL query. SPL stands for Singapore, Paris, London. So SPL stands for Splunk Search Processing Language, which is the key factor for the developers, which is the main factor for the developers to work on Splunk environment. So these are the queries which we have to learn during our Splunk development course. More we are comfortable in the query part, more we are comfortable in doing the other stuff in Splunk, right? So all in all, you can say that writing the query is nothing but the backbone of Splunk. More we are comfortable in writing the query efficiently, more we are, creating the dashboard, repos, and doing the other stuff in Splunk. So we will collect the data, we will store the data within our own file system. Then with the help of SPL, Splunk Search Processing Language, we will analyze the data. Once we analyze the data for ourselves, we have to put that analyzed data in the form of the dashboard. Now, you will be amazed to know what exactly the dashboard is. The dashboard is nothing but the collection of the graphs. Because to the higher management, you cannot show the data in a raw format, in a raw log. They don't want to see the data. They don't want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 15, 16, 20, or Kolkata this one, Hyderabad this one, this many counts, the error of the count, blah blah. They don't want to really see this one. Instead, they always want to see the data in the form of the graph. They want to see pie chart. They want to see column chart. They want to see these. They want to see that. So everything they want to see in the form of the chart. So in the form of the graph. So if you put all those graphs together, then that page will be known as the dashboard. Okay, that page will be known as the dashboard. So once you create the dashboard, you will present it to the higher management and get the appreciation from them, and just be visible to the CTOs and CEOs as well. So that is known as visualizing. That is known as visualizing. So Splunk works in 4 stages: collecting the data from different sources, irrespective of the type of the sources. Indexing the data means once the data is collected, it will be stored in the local file system of the Splunk server. Once the data is stored, it can be analyzed through SPL command, which is Splunk Search Processing Language. And then once you have analyzed the data, you can put it in the form of the graph, and the collection of graph is known as dashboard visualization. Okay, is that clear? Now, what are the benefits of Splunk? We have got a lot of benefits, and for your information, Splunk is being used in almost all the sectors across the globe, all the sectors. So if you are taking the Splunk training, it doesn't mean that you have to find out the name of the company where only Splunk is used. No, in almost all the sectors. Even when Splunk came into the market in the year 2004, Splunk was not widely used at that time, but now in the year 2016, Splunk is used widely in even in fact all the sectors, all the sectors in the sense, if you take retail sector, if you talk about telecommunication, in the retail sector we have Tesco. Telecommunication we have I'm just taking the giant name, I'm not taking all the names of the company for each and every sector. In telecom sector we have Vodafone, we have T-Mobile. In banking sector we have Wells Fargo, Bank of America, World Bank, JPMC, and Financial One, Capital One. In what to say, insurance domain, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield, we have 21st Century. In card industry we have Visa, American Express, Maestro. So in audit we have PwC, Ernst and Young. Wherever you go, Splunk is being used, wherever you go, because if you have the log, we have the Splunk in place. You got the point. You have the log, and log will be there, right? Because without log, where will you go? You have the application running in your server, so there will be a log. If there is a log, there is a Splunk. That's it. It's a very simple calculation. You don't have to think about that. Okay, why Splunk will be used? Why Splunk will be used? Yeah, Splunk will be used because it can handle the data very effectively and efficiently without having any issues, and in a faster way. Okay, so it can, it will so it if you use this, then it will help us to take the business decision. It will, I mean, it will give us an environment through which we can drive the decisions. So let's say, for example, we have a pizza in California, pizza center. So the place where we have the pizza, so California is a big city, right? So we have got a lot of pizza branches over there. So let's say in ABC city, just for an example, in ABC city we have got a pizza, one of the pizza branches, Dominos. And Domino's IT people are generating logs. I mean, the applications are generating logs, and they are putting those logs in Splunk just to generate the graph, just to see how their branch is performing week over week. So what they have seen in the graph, that one of the vegetarian item is not getting sold so frequently in that particular area. Okay, it may happen, right? Yeah, people in that area are more likely to have non-vegetarian than vegetarian, so that's the reason. So if this is the case, then they can easily take the decision after seeing the trend graph for the last 6 months, that no, boss, I am going to decommission this project, this product from my list, or at least from my branch. So from next month, if somebody comes in asking for that product, we would directly tell them, sir, it has been decommissioned. We have removed this item being sold from our list. Could you please go to some other branch if you want to have this item, or you can go for some other item with these many discounts, or so and so and blah and blah. Got the point? So it will help you to take the business decision, to drive the decision correctly by looking at the graph which has been created by analyzing the log which you have got from different application servers. Now we have got one more feature. I mean, actually in Splunk we have got a lot of features. One of the feature, I mean, so I mean, one of the great features is automated reporting. Now what is reporting? Let's say you have a query. Which query? The query which I talked about, SPL, Splunk Search Processing Language. You have this query with you, and at every 5 o'clock you write this query. In the afternoon, 5 p.m. IST, you write this query, you get the result, because if you write some query you will get the output. That output is known as result. You will get the result and you give this result to your manager. You give this result to your manager, right? Now all of a sudden something happens and you are asked to execute the same query in the midnight instead of at 5 o'clock in the evening. At that point, what you are going to do? What you are going to do is you have to stay back in the office, and the moment it will be 12 o'clock, you have to execute, check the output, give it to your manager, and then go back home. So it will be hectic. Again, tomorrow early morning, you have to come to the office. So instead of doing that, what you are going to do, you can do the automated reporting in the sense, on behalf of the user, Splunk query will execute automatically. So we will schedule the Splunk query to run or to execute at exactly 12 o'clock in the midnight instead of 5 o'clock in the evening. So you will be having dinner with your family members at 12 o'clock, or you'd be taking rest, and the query will run, execute on behalf of you, and it will store the result. Tomorrow morning you come, get the result, and send the file to your manager for further review. So it is that much easy. So we have this facility as well. So we'll learn one by one, so no need to worry about anything. So this is one of the features we have talked about. We have lot many more to say, lot many more to discuss. Now, one more definition of Splunk is a search engine, and not only a simple search engine, it is like a Google search engine. Okay, so what's the difference between Google and Splunk? Any idea? In Google, we search for the data across the globe. Let's say if I'm searching for Bahubali, or if I'm searching for Amitabh Bachchan, I would also get the data for Amitabh Bachchan and Bahubali, right? But in Splunk, if you search for the data Bahubali, you won't get anything, because there is only one difference between Splunk and Google is Splunk is only for IT data, okay, and Google is for the data which is present across the globe. So this is the only difference. Otherwise, Google is also a search engine and Splunk is also a search engine, right? Now, in Splunk, you have a rectangular box that is known as a search box. Like in Google also we have a rectangular search box where we write the query and we get all the results in front of us where that string matches or the pattern matches. In the same way, we have in Splunk also. In Splunk, we have a rectangular box. I'll be showing you a rectangular box, search box, where we write the query and we get the result as similar to the Google. That is the reason we call it as a Google-like search engine. We have got the same algorithm written in the backend, as well as the search is faster than anything else in the world. Now versions. Versions are very much important, because when we are dealing with Splunk is not an open source software, it's a licensed version software. We have to pay for the license. So there are, Splunk is the name of the product, and the proprietary of this product is Splunk. The name of the company also is Splunk only. So if you go to splunk.com, you can download Splunk from the website. So once you download Splunk from the website, that software is known as Splunk Enterprise Trial Version. Okay, Splunk Enterprise Trial Version, which is valid for only 60 days. After 60 days, it will ask you for the license. Either you buy the license or make it as a free version. Now, Enterprise Trial Version is valid for 60 days. And one more thing, Splunk can index or Splunk can store 500 MB of data per day, not more than that, in the Enterprise Trial Version. And since this is a license version, so license of Splunk depends on how much data is getting indexed per day. License depends on how much data is getting indexed per day. Okay, I'm saying per day, just don't get confused how much data. So by default, Splunk gives 500 MB of data per day storing capacity. Okay, 500 MB of data per day storing capacity. If you want to take more, let's say you have 5 servers and all the 5 servers logs are generating 10 GB of data per day, 10 GB, then I would go to the Splunk and I would probably request them or buy 10 GB of license from them, 10 GB of license, because you have got or you are getting 10 GB of license generated per day. Okay, I'm talking about the per day generation, right? So after 60 days gets over, after 60 days get over, it will prompt you, either you convert it to the free version or you convert it to the full version. If you have enough money in your hand, you will purchase a license and you can easily convert your Splunk to the full version. And now you enjoy with the licensing capacity. But for the standalone, for the people like us, we cannot go for the license. Rather, we will always go with the this one, free version. So the moment we click on the free version, most of the features from Splunk will be disabled, because that is a free version forever. You do not require any license to keep your Splunk, to keep Splunk free version for forever. You do not require any license for that. So if you convert it to free version, it means it will be free version forever. So most of the feature will be disabled. The one of the features, the great features, is user access control will not be there. In the sense, you cannot create any user, you cannot maintain any user in free version. There will be nothing, everything will be disabled. So the moment you hit the URL, you will be logged into the home page without asking any credential for the users. Okay. So access control will not be there, distributed search will not be there, a lot of stuffs are there, which will be disabled automatically. So this is the difference between all the versions. The number one version is enterprise trial version, which is valid for 60 days. The second is enterprise version, I mean the real one, and the third one is the free version. Okay, so by default is 500 MB data per day we can index, but if you purchase the license, it could be more. Okay, now Splunk is an application, or Splunk is a software, you can say. So Splunk is not meant for only one type of operating system. It's something like, it's not like only for it's not only for Linux, it's not only for Unix, Mac OS, it's not only for Windows. So Splunk is an application. It's not only an application, it's a cross-platform application. Cross-platform in the sense it can be installed and configured in any OS available in the market across the globe. Linux, Solaris, OS X, FreeBSD, AIX, HPUX. Okay, in 32 and 64-bit. It really doesn't matter what bit of computer you have with you. That's it. You want Splunk, go and download it as per your operating system configuration, and just go ahead with next and done, finish. Fine. Now what does Splunk do? So Splunk can take the data from different sources. As you can see here, Splunk can take the data from server matrices, any custom application. I already talked about it to you earlier. So it can take the data from any custom applications, from Windows registry. This registry is an internal log for Windows operating system. Then any DNS log, it can take the data from any network devices like router, host IDS, RAS VPN, physical security, vulnerability data. It can also take the vulnerability data from the Qualys Guard application. So the most important thing is here, scripts. Can you see over there, right hand side, a little to the right side on the top, script. Let's say before introducing Splunk in your environment, we had a lot of Perl script and the Python script running. So those Python or Perl script used to run on the logs, and it used to generate some output. So after the Splunk is implemented in the organization, the output of the script can be taken as an input to Splunk. You got the point. The output of the script is running against the logs, and then it is generating some output. So that output can be fed to Splunk server for further processing. So this is also possible. So that's what I'm saying. Splunk says, or Splunk claims, you get me the data. I really don't care where the data is coming from. Either the data is either the user is creating the data by his own hand, or user is generating the data by some means, or it is an output of any script, it's a custom application, or the data is from any database. I really don't care where the data is coming from. Wherever the file, wherever the path the data is coming from, I would take it to Splunk for the further processing, right? So this is a very important feature in Splunk. Splunk really does not care where the data is coming from. Now, moving to the next slide. What does Splunk provide? We have search, alert, report, and share. So search already I have talked about. We have SPL, which is known as the full form of, it stands for Splunk Search Processing Language. It is not SSPL, it is known as SPL, Splunk Search Processing Language. With the help of this, we write the query and we analyze the data. So that is known as search. Now alert. Alerting is a very beautiful concept in Splunk. Let's say if any suspicious activity is happening in your environment, let's say you are working in an office and we are the IT people, so we know that if a laptop or desktop is given by the company, there should be some username and password. So one fine day, if I forget my password, then I will give one time if the password is wrong, then second time if the password is wrong, the third time if the password is wrong. After 3 wrong attempts, my password will be locked, right? So once it is locked, I will not definitely give the fourth time or the fifth time password. I won't take this attempt because I know this rule, because it was already told to me at the time of the induction. So I'll go to the IT people or someone in the management and I would request them to unlock my laptop or the desktop for giving the wrong password, and also request them to reset your old password with the new one. Because we are literate, we are educated, that's the reason. But hackers, what they want, they don't follow this policy. They keep on trying. They keep on trying with different passwords with the username which they have got from your log. So this is known as dictionary attack. They have got lot of password with them, depending upon the dictionary stuff, and they keep on trying each and every password. So whichever the password is matching, they will be able to log into your system. It means they will be trying more than 3 times to log into your password. So if you can set an alert, if something happens like this, if I feel, or if somebody is trying to log into our server more than 3 times with the same IP address by giving the wrong password, then an alert should be generated. An alert should be generated. So even if I am having a lunch with my teammates, I'm at dinner party, I all of a sudden get the notification that something is happening wrong in your server. Please take the action immediately. So once I get this one, I can probably perform the action by calling somebody who is at desk at that time, and I can stop the firewall or start the firewall or stop the services or something. I'll just guide them to save my environment. So that's the reason alert is very much important, very much important. Now coming to the report part. Report is nothing, as I already told you, whatever the query you are going to write, you are going to get the result. So that result is known as the report. That result is known as the report. We'll learn more on the report part, but for the time being, just get to know about this, what exactly the report is. Now the fourth one is share. Share is nothing but, let's say Gokul is creating a dashboard. After creating a dashboard, he is very happy because he is going for a vacation and he went to the vacation. So the dashboard is created by Gokul. It means that dashboard is private to Gokul. So he could see the graph which he created, but not me, not Ramesh, not Smedha, not Krishna. Got the point? So nobody could see the data because that dashboard is private to Gokul, and Gokul has forgotten to provide the necessary permission to others to view that dashboard. That is known as sharing. So from now on, just keep this thing in mind. Whatever we will create in Splunk, we have to share it with all. You got the point? We have to share it with all so that other can also get an access, can see what you have created. So this is a very important feature in Splunk for sharing. Now you can see few more data sources, a kind of data sources. We have set up a category of this different kind of sources. You can see Windows, Linux, Unix virtualization. applications, databases, and networking. In Windows is also an operating system. It has got its own logs such as registry, event logs, file system, sysinternals. So you can also feed these internal logs of Windows operating system to Splunk to check the system performance of any of the laptop or the Windows server, right? In the same way, you can also provide a log from Linux and Unix server to Splunk, such as the configurations file, syslog, file system, and ps-iostat top. What is the last one? ps-iostat top. It means in Linux or Unix, I don't know you have an idea about Linux or Unix or not, but still we have lot of commands which does lot of stuff. So if you write any command, you are getting the output for that particular command. That output can also be fed in Splunk because that is a kind of an output. So if the thing which will be in the form of the output can be easily fed to Splunk, okay, without any single percent doubt. It can take the data from virtualization. It can take the data from any applications. You can say weblogs, .NET events, code and scripts, log4j, JMS, JMX. It can also take the data from database. Now, here is an important catch. Let's say if I ask Krishna to fight a small kid, small 4-year-old kid, and I ask Krishna to fight a 25-year-old boy, what he's gonna do? The main target will be the fighting. So the Krishna will fight both of them separately, and he will hit them. But the way of fighting with the kid is entirely different the way of fighting with that big guy, 25-year-old. Definitely. But ultimately the target remains the same, that I am fighting, right? So in Splunk also we do have the same case. My goal is to check the data, to collect the data from different sources and keep the data within itself. That's it. How I'm taking the data, it really does not matter. It really does not matter. It depends on what type of source you have. Okay, what type of source you have. So you are fighting, ultimately you have to fight, but it depends that what type of person you are fighting with, right? If you are fighting a small kid, definitely you are not going to give him a hard punch. Okay, you'll just slap him slightly and then you will tickle him on his head or something, and then you will fight with him. But you cannot do this stuff with a strong guy of 25-year-old. If you do this, you will be beaten up, right? So you have to be harsh at that time. So in the same manner, if you want to get the data from database, then we have to install a separate application on top of Splunk that is known as DB Connect application. So separate application has to be installed on Splunk to take care of, to fetch the data from the database. So that's what it is very much important. Whenever we are dealing with a database, the way of fetching the data from database is entirely different from fetching the data from any of the application server in the form of the flat files. Fine. Coming to the networking part, we have the configuration, syslog, SNMP, NetFlow, and we can integrate Splunk with any applications available in the world. We can easily intake, let's say we have the SharePoint, we have Apache, we have email server, we have Qualys Guard, we have Digital Guardian. These are the tools with which, there are many tools available. I am just giving you the name of few tools. These tools are easily integrated with Splunk to work together. So we have the ticketing tool called ServiceNow. It can be integrated with Splunk. We have after ServiceNow, we have Remedy. Remedy can also be integrated. So a lot of stuff are integrated with Splunk. Even if you know Tabule, Tableau is a BI tool which prepares or shows the data in the form of the graph, can also be integrated with Splunk. So the data which is stored in Splunk can be further given to Tabule for the further good visualization. The thing about this slide is we can get the data from different sources. So you can see here the list of the sources are categorized here. Windows, Linux, Unix, virtualization, applications, database, and networking, right? So in the Windows is an operating system. So in that operating system, Windows has got its own local file system. Local file system in the sense We have the Windows registry, we have the event logs, we have file systems, we have sys internals. So Windows can also give its own file to Splunk for the further processing. So we can see the health checkup of the system, we can see how much memory is being utilized by this particular server, then CPU, then RAM, and everything we can see. So what are the softwares have been installed, which of the softwares have got the upgraded version, which are not, everything we can check care of if the logs of the Windows operating system are fed to Splunk. Now coming to the Linux and Unix, we can easily feed we can easily feed configuration, syslog, file system, and the output of any command. So we have got 4,000 commands in Linux and Unix, and which each and every command we have got at least 10 to 15 options. So if you multiply 4,000 into at least the average 10, then you can have 40,000 commands along with the options. So you can have any command running on Linux or Unix, and output of those command can be easily taken as an input to Splunk. Okay, you have the virtualization, you have the applications, you have the databases. Now in the databases I would like to stop for a while, because for fetching the data from the database is different. I mean, the way of fetching the data from database is different from the way of fetching the data from any other sources across the globe. So there is an application called DB Connect application, which has to be installed in Splunk in order to fetch the data from the database, right? So database could be Sybase, DB2, Oracle, Teradata, MySQL, any kind of database it could be. Now there is one more called networking. We can have the data from syslog, SNMP, NetFlow, configurations, and so many. So Splunk can take the data from any kind of sources. You have the category of the sources listed down here, you can see. So it can take the data from any sources irrespective of the type of the sources. What I was explaining you is, ultimately the goal of the Splunk is to take the data, is to store the data, right? How it is storing the data, it really does not matter. Okay, whether I'm storing the data by jumping off the roof, or I'm storing the data by killing myself, it really does not matter. My target is to store the data within its own file system. So let's say, for example, if you're fighting a boy, 4-year-old boy, the way of fighting will be different. You are not going to give him a hard punch, right? Otherwise he'll be hurt. So but if you are fighting with a 25-year-old boy, a man, then definitely you are going to give him a hard punch, otherwise he will beat you. Otherwise you will be getting, you will be beaten up by him. So that's the reason, but ultimately you are fighting with both of them. So in the same way, Splunk's target is uh, to get the data from different sources, irrespective of the type of the sources. How I'm getting the data, it really does not care. So if I want to get the data from database, we have a different application. If I want to get the data from SharePoint, QualisGuard, Riverbed, or anything else, we have a different stuff. Okay, but ultimately we are getting the data. Now coming to the last slide, we have a delivering operational intelligence. So search and navigate. Splunk is very much powerful in searching your string, like Google. In Google, if you search for something, let's say Splunk is a very powerful search engine for IT industry. In Google, how many search engine you are aware of? Let's say Google, ask.com, msn.com, bingo.com, blah 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 blah. Like this, you have got lot many, search engine in the market. But still, whenever you want to search something in the internet, the first tool you think of is Google. The first tool you think of is Google, right? Because Google is the one which can get you the data in a faster mode, which can get you the data in a fraction of second. So Google is a fast, that's the reason. So it is able to, it is providing the way of searching the IT data in a very efficient and effective manner. So that's the reason we can do the data drill down as well. It is something called needle in a haystack. So finding a needle in a haystack. So before Splunk came into the market in the year 2004, developers used to analyze the log with the help of Perl script, Python script, and so many, etc., etc. But in that case, the SLA used to get breached. What is SLA? The full form SLA stands for Service Level Agreement. It means, let's say Sumed is a client. He is giving a big project to Abhay. Now, Abhay as a vendor or service provider, we will have a contract between Abhay and Sumed that okay, Sumed will say if any critical task comes, then you should solve it in 8 hours or in 10 hours. So this is the agreement which we have in between us. Okay, in between us. If any problem comes, then I have to solve it in 8 hours, and then I have put the signature. Sumedh has also put the signature on behalf of his company, and then everything is done. So this is known as SLA, Service Level Agreement. Now you imagine something happens. Okay, something happens wrong. Some application goes down. Some applications go down, and I have written a big Perl script or the Python script just to go through the log, application log, that exactly what happened. I am getting the output after 2 days. So once I get the output after 2 days, already the SLA is breached because SLA is 8 hours, not 2 days and 5 days. So once I get the output after 2 days, I'll do the analysis, I'll check what exactly the reason was for the failure, and I'll again take 4 hours or again 1 day I'll take for the analysis. Then total 3 days it is taking for me to find out the reason for the exact failure or for the exact troubleshooting, right? So before Splunk came into the market, these kind of situations were there and client was helpless because nothing was there in the market. So we have to stick with the what you can say, we have to stick with the failure of the or delaying of the log processing with the Perl script and the Python script. But once Splunk came into the market, it can do the log processing or the troubleshooting stuff or root cause analysis in a fraction of a second with its searching and reporting mechanism or algorithm, right? So that's the reason we can call it as a we are finding a needle in a haystack for Splunk. So Splunk can easily find a needle in a haystack in fraction of second. Now, visibility. Real-time visibility. Splunk can get you the live dashboard. The way the data, the moment the data comes in, it will start populating. It will start, refreshing automatically, and it will show you the data. You don't have to refresh your dashboard. You don't have to touch your dashboard just to see the data. What exactly is happening? So the moment the data comes in, your dashboard will be converted. Your dashboard, the count will be changed. So that is known as live dashboard. Now, historical analytics. In the historical analytics, you have a lot of stuff. Let's say I have I have the data coming from 3 servers, one server from Gokul, one server from Krishna, one server from Sumed. Okay. Now, from the past 2 years, we have been working together. So it doesn't mean, and I have the Splunk server in my laptop setup. So I am working from the last 2 years with you three guys. So I'm keeping your data from your 3 servers. Now I will definitely not keep these many years of data in my laptop. Depending upon the criticality of the application, I will put the retention policy for each of the application. Retention policy in the sense, I am going to put the retention policy for Gokul system. Okay, Gokul system, the application which is running in Gokul's laptop is really very critical. So we will take the data for 6 months, and the data which is more than 6 months, we are going to delete it, or we are going to archive it in some external storage like Hadoop or any SAN storage. Now for Krishna, okay, this application is not that much critical, so we can keep 3 months of data instead of 6 months, and rest of the data we will archive it to some external storage. And for this what to say, Sumed, we can keep the data only for 30 days or 15 days. Like that we can set the retention policy, right? So once you set the retention policy, and later point of time, if you want to do any historical analytics, okay, how was the data in the last June, how was the data in the past 1 year, then you can easily fetch the data from your external drive and you can make your query. You can see the result. Once everything is done, you can again send the data back to the external storage. So this is also possible. So that is known as historical analysis, right? Now you can do the operational insights, historical patterns, compliance report. You can have the trending graph in Splunk. So trending graph is really very important. As I gave you the example of the Domino's pizza, so how you can take the decision for the Domino's pizza. Okay, forget about Domino's pizza. I mean the similar example I'm going to give you. Let's say there is an application which got deployed recently in ABC company. In ABC company, Krishna, Sumed and Gokul, all three are working. Okay, now that application is generating an error log every day, and that error keeps on increasing because these three guys are not working properly. You three guys are not working properly, so error is getting increased automatically after each day. So how they will come to know? They will have a trend graph. In the trend graph, they could see in the month of January, the application got deployed and the total number of error was 80%. In the month of February, it was 20%. Okay, something happened. So that's why the error got mitigated or reduced. But again, in the month of March, it was 60%. Then April, it was 78, 90, 80, 90, 70, 80, 90, like that. We have the graph. So this is known as trend graph. We can see the trend graph in the form of the historical pattern. So from January to December, my count never went down less than 50%. It means something is really wrong with this application, and these three guys are not enough to take care of my application. So instead, what I'm going to do, I am going to recruit one more guy or two more guy for just handling the application errors. Or what I'm going to do, out of these three guys, I will train one guy for the troubleshooting and I'll take him out from there, from that team, and I'll put him in the troubleshooting team. You got the point. It depends. I mean, what's the budget for that particular quarter and everything. I mean, it depends on a lot of factors. So you can take your decision based on the trend graph, which you can see for the logs of your application. So this is known as historical analytics with the trending graph. So this is all about Splunk.